Hello, and welcome to Chief Architect Workshop. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks. Hello, today we are going to talk about the view menu. This is for beginners, so we won't cover anything hairy, although there's not too much hairy on this one. Refresh display is pretty obvious. Library browser is good because you can pick your stuff off the menu. Say you want furniture, you can go pick a bed and pop it in. So that's how that works. All right, let's go to the next view menu item. Project browser. I don't really use this, but it could be handy. These are the stuff, the drawings that you've created in your plan. Here, that these are open. There's really not a whole lot of information on these, but these have some stuff. We can double click on that, and that should bring up the exterior front elevation. And it should look something like that. Let's see, we're going to have to scroll it over somehow. Our scroll bars have been turned off. I had to turn them on. So we can scroll. And it'll show the front elevation. And we can just use our fingers to, if you have a touch screen, blow it up, blow it down, or just use this guy. Fill the window, and then use this guy to circle around a grabber, and that'll fill it. Okay, aerial view, let's not worry about that. Tool palette just turns the tools on and off. We want to keep there's our palettes. We want to keep them on, so let's not worry too much about that. View, active layer display options. That gives you this window here, which is kind of handy. You might want to play with some features, but I hardly ever use this unless I have to really change something or turn something off. Say I go to the cabinet base and I want to lock it. Something like that. Let's not worry too much about that if you're a beginner. As a matter of fact, let's just turn this off. And let's go to the next item. Yeah, that's the active layer display options. We just talked about that. Status bar. That just toggles the status bar on and off. And we want to keep it on. Right there. Tells us what's going on there. We can turn that on and off. We don't need it. So these are just toggles. Scroll bar, remember we toggle our scroll bar off. And you really should keep your scroll bar on because you might need to move things around. That'd be a good thing. Toolbars, we really want to keep our toolbars on. So let's make sure we keep them on. And color, this turns the color on and off, black and white or color. You can also pick it over on the right hand side, which I do from time to time if you want to see what it looks like in black and white. Our reference grid, I usually leave the reference grid on because it's in 12 by 12 increments. Or here, typically in plan view, it's in 12 by 12 increments. Here you can see this is inch now. Brick is 2 3/8, so it's going to 1, 2, and 3/8. So this shows the brick. So these are 1 inch increments. And you can see the 12 by 12 increments there. So you want to keep that on, I would say. The angle snap grid. Here it's on. I usually leave it off, but let's leave it on. And all this does is say you want to build a wall. Let's go down to a floor plan. So you want to build a wall, interior wall. Click on that and all of a sudden that shows up with the angles on it. And you see the temporary dimension is there. We can also toggle that on and off. I typically don't worry about that, so I'll just usually will just leave that off. I usually will leave that off. The reference grid I leave on. Temporary dimensions I usually leave on. You can see what you turn them off when you build a wall. Interior wall, there will be no dimensions. It just shows the wall, no temporary dimensions. So that's just a toggle. And I'd leave that on. Keep that on. Arc centers and ends, here it's off. Sometimes you want to see what the arcs are doing. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Draw an arc. It'll show the center and the ends. Yeah, for a beginner, don't worry too much about that. Just turn that off. Line weights, I usually just keep this off unless I'm in layout view. And even that, it's not that accurate. This just shows what the line weights are. It's also over here. Don't have too much difference in the line weights. You can see like these, as you blow it up a little, this is a little lighter, it's a little thicker. This is 35, that's 18, 18, this is 1. And that's how you can fatten things up and whatnot. But it's not too bad in this view, but typically I just leave that off. Thank you for checking out Chief Architect Workshop. Please remember to go to our YouTube channel, Chief Architect Workshop, and subscribe.